Hi guys, welcome to Bible Breakdown. We're doing Psalms chapter 62. This psalm is titled Trust in God Alone for the choir director according to Jeduthun, a psalm of David. So we have a good amount of points to point out for this chapter. Just to start out for verses 1 and 2, I wrote that there's no disappointment with God because God is not like these other things that people put their trust in. That's uncertain. God is a rock which resembles perfect strength and stability. So the things that I'm alluding to is like crystals and like things that people, worship and like the universe. Like, how people be like, oh, I rely on the universe, like the signs, things of that nature. You can't put your trust in that. There's no security there. And the lack of security will lead to disappointment because it's like you expect something to come out of it, but it actually doesn't. And now you're just sitting there like a fool. Then to continue for verses 3 and 4, I wrote that the enemies David faces are two-faced. They are people that might say positive things, but also have evil intentions. They try to attack when somebody's foundation or structure is weak so that it can leave damage and cause destruction. So like in verse 3, it kind of acknowledges and asks the question of like, are you going to keep attacking people when they're weak? And it references or uses an example of a leaning wall or like a loose fence. And then in verse 4, it talks about how they only bring people down. It says they only plan to bring him down from his high position. They take pleasure in lying. They bless with their mouths, but they curse inwardly. So that last part is kind of highlighting the two-faced nature that these enemies have. Then to continue to verses 5 through 8, I feel like this is kind of the answer to the last problem that was presented, which is about like the unsteady foundation. And it's basically saying God is the foundation that we need. It also highlights how David is able to stand firm, and David confirms that the only reason why he's like that is because of God. In verse 6, he says, He alone is my rock and my salvation, my stronghold, I will not be shaken. And even in verse 7, it says, My salvation and glory depend on God, my strong rock. My refuge is in God. Then for verses 9 and 10, I feel like it's telling us, like, if you put your trust in things outside of God, it's like a foolish thing to do. So in verses 10, it says, Place no trust in oppression or false hope in robbery. If wealth increases, don't set your heart on it. But I feel like you can interchange wealth with anything in this world. So it's like whatever is popular, whatever like the new age thing is, don't put your trust in it. Don't put your heart on it. And then to end the chapter for verses 11 and 12, I wrote that the ultimate power belongs to God, and that gives him the right to judge us accordingly. So just always remember to build a good foundation with God because he's the only thing that can keep you stable compared to the things of this world. And that is all I have for you guys. That is the end of chapter 62, and I will do chapter 63 on Monday. I love y'all. God loves y'all more. Have a great weekend.